in to the Built for Tough Player of the Week show, where we honor greatness in Texas high school football every single week. I'm Greg Tepper, editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us as we celebrate some of the best performances in Week 10 of the Texas high school football season, the penultimate episode of this here program, and we are so excited to spotlight these superstars, starting with our Class 6A Built for Tough Player of the Week, North Forney quarterback Legend Bay, who put on a legendary performance in their come-from-behind wild win over Longview, throwing for 127 yards and a touchdown, but more importantly, 243 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. The state-ranked Falcons are flying into the playoffs thanks to the heroics of their quarterback, Legend Bay. The team is now 8-1 on the year. Now, he did throw 2 interceptions in this game, but consider this. They're the first 2 interceptions of the entire season here in Week 10. Legend Bay, absolutely remarkable performance and an absolutely remarkable catch-up with our Mallory Hartley.
Legend, man, what an unbelievable performance you and your team had last week to come back from a 21-42 deficit at halftime to come back and win against Longview by 1. Tell me a little bit about the team grit and just the way that you guys were able to come back and win this game as a team.
Well, we prepare right and well every week, so it really wasn't like nothing crazy to us because we practice these situations every day, and like we're not a team that's scared of adversity. So like when adversity comes, we just face it.
Tell me a little bit about your team performance last week and how that's helped you kind of, grow into the athlete that you are.
I know my teammates depend on me, so like it's just like I can't let them down. Like just being in the locker room looking at halftime and seeing how they look, it's just like that's not the move. I don't like that. So.
And Legend, you're a senior this year, and I feel like that comes with a little bit more of responsibility. You've kind of got the team on your back, and you're kind of help leading them, hopefully, to an AT&T Stadium appearance, right? Talk to me a little bit about how important that is to you.
We got a journey. We have like a grid of what our journey is, and we're accomplishing those goals. And we lost a few people on the way, which was sad, and we're doing it for them. So,
in your own words, what makes you a special player?
I just keep God first and just keep playing football. That's it.
Coach Shavers, an unbelievably gritty performance by your team last week to get the win over Longview. You guys were down 3 scores at half, came back, and you got the win. Talk about how gritty and just the team performance overall last week.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, just those guys being able to go into the at halftime and keep their composure was the biggest thing. We had been down a bunch this year at the half, but they being able to go in there and get their composure about them, keep the focus on the main thing and not turn on each other. That was a big deal. We felt like, honestly, in our locker room, we believe that we can go, well, it won't be easy, but we felt like we can go and chop that lead down and get back into that game. It was just about composure for us, and our coaches did a tremendous job of making the correct adjustments from a schematic standpoint to put us in some better positions defensively and offensively, as well as in the kicking game. And then our players just came out and competed hard. One thing about this team, they believe that something good is about to happen to them on the next play. I mean, they just keep believing. They just keep believing. And I think as long as they have that type of belief right there, they're going to be able to do special things.
And Legend kind of being at the helm of it all, he's your quarterback. He's your senior leader. Tell me how important that he's been to this team this year.
Been tremendously important. I mean, Legend Bay is a generational talent. He's one of the most talented football players I've ever been around. I think he's got an opportunity to go down as one of the best players that's ever played Texas high school football. Mallory, you and I both know that's saying a lot. The difference right now in Legend Bay and those other greats that we talk about that have played Texas high school football is that those guys have made long, deep playoff runs. He has that same type of talent. Those deep runs have yet to be determined, and we're excited about him having that opportunity to go stamp his legacy. But he's been tremendous as a player, making plays. But I think the things that people don't see is how he gets other players to play at a higher level. When he competes hard, when he's bought in and he's encouraging people. The kicker kicks better, the O-line blocks better, the defense tackles better. That's what great players do. They have an opportunity to really get the people around them to play bigger than they are. And when you get that, you got a chance.
Well, and you kind of already mentioned it a little bit. What kinds of things is Legend doing that off the field, that maybe some people might not see? I know you kind of already mentioned how he's kind of affected the team, but what kinds of things is he involved in off the field that maybe people don't see?
Well, I just think it's this, like any coach that has a player of that talent caliber, he has influence over the locker room. And there's nothing you can do about that as a coach, right? He's going to have that influence, and whether he uses that influence for good or for bad, it makes all the world of difference. He's been using his innate influence to be able to make sure guys are more prepared for practice. There's more of a focus toward a Monday practice. It didn't used to be that way. It was like, man, we're going through the motions trying to get to Friday. But now there's more an intentional focus at practice because he does it and he thinks it's cool to practice like that. The way he approaches practice, the way he goes about trying to take care of his schoolwork and staying off of our bad grade list. And so I just think it's how he's doing all the little things, to be honest with you, how that's influencing other people around him.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate the time. Congratulations on last week's win, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, Mallory. Appreciate y'all for having me.
And congratulations again to Legend Bay of North Forney, the Built for Tough Player of the Week in Class 6A. On to Class 5A and down to the greater Houston area, where it was all about LaPorte's Ashton Ruffin, the running back and linebacker who was sensational in their district win over Angleton 47-40, carrying the ball 265 yards and 3 touchdowns, and also put on a show defensively with 12 tackles, including the game-sealing sack. He's a 2-year all-district player, but more importantly, he takes care of his business off the field as well, an honor roll student. He has the Bulldogs at 8-1 and most importantly, 6-0 in district play heading into the playoffs. LaPorte's Ashton Ruffin, an absolute all-around star, and a great interview for Mallory Hartley.
Man, did last week's game did this victory feel any different? I know you guys had this game against Angleton circled on your calendar since December of last year, right? Did it feel any different to get the win?
It felt different in the moment. I mean, now that it's over and done with, it feels the same, but definitely in that moment after we won, it felt good knowing that last year they got the best of us in the 4th round, but right now we got the best of them, so it felt different.
Big performance you had, 2-way starter there last week, and honestly, every single week it seems like. What motivates you every single week to put up those kinds of performances?
The motivation behind most of it is my team. I can't do without them, and some stuff they can't do without me. So it's kind of just we motivate each other at all aspects of the game, just to keep going, keep getting better, and keep improving. And definitely my mom, every week or every day mainly, she's talking to me about make sure you do this better, make sure you do this better, make sure you keep going, make sure you're leading the team. That's kind of my motivation.
Coach, huge win over Angleton this week. I feel like it's kind of one of those games that y'all have stamped on your calendar every single year, right? You got it circled and you just kind of have it stamped, ready to go. And your guy Ashton, he had an unbelievable performance in a game like that. What is it like for you to be on the sidelines watching, such a huge game play out in y'all's favor, and then one of your kids absolutely dominating in the process?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a game that we've had circled on our calendar since last year. I know, we still had to, play the other ones before that. Mm-hmm. But, it's turned into a little, in a short time that we played each other, kind of like a little rivalry. So, and then you add the fact that I coached there before with Coach Britton. I think that kind of adds a little bit to it too. But, I've known Ashton since he was in 8th grade, and Ashton's always been one of the best players on the field, and he always shines in the biggest moments, and he definitely did that Friday night, and that's just a testament of his hard work and dedication to what he does and everything he does in life. So it was definitely a very proud moment to see Ashton compete like he did Friday.
Absolutely. You said you've known him since he was in 8th grade. What's some of the biggest changes that you've seen in Ashton throughout the years?
He's a little better at controlling his temper as a young player. He would let some outside type things kind of get the best of him, and then let him affect him in the game. But he's matured through that, and now he just his goal is just to ball out on every play, and he's a two-way starter for us. He came to me in the spring saying he wanted to do that. I told him how hard it was going to be, and he said he'd get it done, and he has. And I'm very proud of Ashton.
Coach, appreciate the time and good luck this week and moving forward.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations again to LaPorte's Ashton Ruffin, our Built for Tough Player of the Week in Class 5A. The party is just getting started here on the Built for Tough Player of the Week show, but first, I need your help. As a personal favor, please go to fordplayeroftheweek.com/nominate to nominate your gridiron hero for excellence on and off the field. It's fordplayeroftheweek.com/nominate. We need your help to tell us who should be the Built for Tough Player of the Week. After the break, the 4A and 3A winners, if you stay with us. Welcome back to the Built for Tough Player of the Week show. I'm Greg Tepper. On to Class 4A and down to the Houston area, Houston ISD to be specific, where Christopher Brown put on the cape for the Houston Yates Lions in their win over Houston, Washington. He threw for 241 yards and 5 touchdowns through the air, another 146 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 5 carries. And oh yeah, he returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns as well. That's 728 total yards and 9 touchdowns. He also punted the ball for 67 yards. Absolutely remarkable. Sea Breezy is what they call him. He has the Yates Lions roaring at 9-0 and roaring into this interview with Mallory Hartley.
Before we get started with this interview, Chris, I have to ask, your nickname, Sea Breezy, awesome nickname. Where did that come from?
It came from my mom. As a younger athlete, when I was playing football, it was just a name, how, like, my mom just gave it to me off me playing football from Little League to middle school to high school. It's just always been my name. So
Is it because you're fast? When I think of Sea Breezy, I think of fast.
that's one of them. Keep everything breezy.
I love it. So you guys have had a phenomenal year there at Houston Yates. 9-0 on the season. You're seeking your first undefeated regular season since 1996. And you're at the helm of that. You're leading this team to that, hopefully, accomplishment next week, or I guess this coming week. What does that mean to you to be a part of all of this?
It means a lot to me. When I first came in, that was the mindset to change everything around, and I'm able to do it. So it's a big accomplishment for me to do it and change everything around. But I couldn't do it by myself. So I just want to thank all my players and my most of all my coaches that I ever had since I got here.
Well, and we got to talk about last week's performance. Absolute awesome performance by you, man. And it doesn't seem like this is out of the ordinary. It seems like you put up performances like this week after week after week. Honestly, and when we were looking at your stat line, my producer goes, he put up an NFL punt last week. I mean, absolutely insane. What was the motivation behind that? Tell me a little bit about that performance on Friday night.
That's right. It was just senior day, one of the biggest games a senior can have during his season. So it's like I came in head on, like it was probably gonna be our last time playing at Barnett. So, I gotta leave something behind. Like Coach always said, when you leave here, what you gonna leave behind? I want to leave a legacy. So it's like I had to leave everything on the field, let them remember my name.
Absolutely. And then finally heading into the playoffs, you being that senior leader, like I mentioned before, what does that mean to you to be kind of at the helm of it all?
It means a lot. We haven't won a playoff game since, can't even remember, but I'm just hoping to change it around. Like I always say, I always wanted to change it around when I got here, and from the looks of it, looks like I'm doing pretty good at what I said I wanted to do. So, you know, I just hope we come in head on, and finish where we started.
Coach, you guys are seeking your first undefeated regular season since 1996. And you've got Christopher Brown there at quarterback, your senior quarterback leading the team to hopefully accomplish this. What does that mean to you?
Man, this is very special. First off, I just want to give all glory to God. I just want to say first, man, this is a special year for us. It's been 40 years since we won a state championship. This is our 100th year anniversary of our school being opening, and it's been 29 years when I touched the field last when we went 10-0. It was my freshman year here at Yates that I was part of that team. So, man, it's just been a surreal moment for me.
Well, and do you see yourself kind of in Chris a little bit? I mean, he's the lifeline of this team, right? The quarterback, the senior leader, like tell me a little bit about who he is as a player.
So, man, he's our engine. He the one that makes us go. He brings all the spirit to the team. He's the leader of our team. The kids really believe in him and follow him. He has a younger brother that's on the team that really looks up to him. So, man, he's a big inspiration to all of our younger guys of what an athlete here at Yates should be. So, man, we're just very, very, very thankful to have him.
Absolutely. Well, and finally, Coach, it's a big honor for any athlete to win this type of award.
Yes.
What kind of example do you hope that this sets for the rest of your squad heading into playoff time?
I hope that this give us a little motivation to see that people are watching us and we are on notice throughout the state of Texas, and that if we just keep practicing, keep the faith, and trust the process, everything will come out on top in the end. Everything will be all right in the end.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate the time. Congratulations on a phenomenal season, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again, Christopher Brown of Houston Yates, our Built for Tough Player of the Week in Class 4A. Down to Class 3A we go, and to Little River Academy. The Bumblebees got a huge performance from their outstanding running back, Brian Grissom, in their win over McGregor, running for 480 yards and 7 touchdowns. That's a single-game rushing record and touchdown record. He broke his own record, which he set just a week before. The team is now into the playoffs for their 6th consecutive year, thanks in large part to the heroics of Brian Grissom, and he took time to catch up with Mallory Hartman.
Broke the school record for most rushing yards and touchdowns in a single game. So you said that last week. And then you broke your own record this week, man. What is that? What was that like? And what does that mean to you?
It was amazing because going into the game, I didn't really expect to. I expected to do good, but just realizing like towards the end of the game, I was like, dang, I just broke it again. It was amazing. Like dream come true.
Well, not only did you break your own record, right? But you guys secure a playoff spot in this year's Texas high school football playoffs. And this is the 6th consecutive season that you guys have made the playoffs. And you've been a part of that. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me just with our squad, knowing how good we are, the playoff run we can make, we stay together and just play good. And just even when we don't have the best years, we still make playoffs. So it just means a lot to me.
And you being a senior this year, that comes with a lot of leadership responsibility. Talk to me a little bit about the type of leader you are and what that means to you.
I try to like boost my guys up a lot. Like if we're down, I just let them know like, hey, I got y'all's back. Y'all got me. And I just try to keep the energy up and just keep going 100%.
Coach, a huge win for your squad last Friday night. You're securing a playoff spot, and you got to watch one of your own guys in Brian break a couple of school records. What was that like for you on the sidelines?
That was great. We really needed it defensively because we were struggling. And so we just kept handing the ball to Brian, and he just kept running and scoring touchdowns. So that's always a good thing.
It's like when in doubt, give the ball to Brian, right?
100%. 100%.
I love it. Well, kind of going off of that a little bit, what kind of a player is Brian to you?
Well, Brian, he does a lot of extra work. He works really hard, and he just wants it really bad. Every time we give him the ball, it's difficult to bring him down. And, it usually takes a group of guys if they're going to get him down. We always joke that, we ought to keep track of how many yards he gets after contact because he usually gets hit 2 or 3 times on his way in for a touchdown.
I love it. I love it. Sounds like a hard worker for sure. Who's Brian off the field? Give me a little bit of an insight that, maybe most people don't know. Who is he off the field?
He's a quiet guy. He drives his little red Corvette. I guess it's a Camaro. It's not a Corvette. We always give him a hard time because it's a V6 and we think as hard as he runs, it ought to be a V8. And so, but if you're going to look for Brian, most of the time you're going to find him on the field. I've got an 8th grader and he goes and works out with him. And, he works all day long on the football field. And whenever we get done with practice, he goes back and does more work. So that's usually where you find him.
I love it. I love it. Well, and Coach, finally, how important is Brian's senior leadership to this team?
We as a team, we rely on him a lot right now. And we need him to be a guy and push our team. And it's a good thing to be able to say, but we go as Brian goes. And if he's having a great day, then the Bumblebees are having a great day.
And congratulations again to Brian Grissom of Little River Academy, our Built for Tough Player of the Week in Class 3A. We are still rolling here on the Built for Tough Player of the Week show. After the break, an opportunity to talk about the 20th anniversary of the Built for Tough Player of the Week show and the incredible performances of the past. One guy who ended up going on and doing some big things after his outstanding high school football career. If you stay with us.
In Texas, high school football is more than a game. It's a legacy. From small towns to powerhouse programs, Friday nights showcase the best talent in the nation. At texasfootball.com/recruiting, we cover the stars of today and tomorrow with trusted rankings, in-depth analysis, weekly podcasts, and live commitment announcements, because this is where legends begin.
Welcome back to the Built for Tough Player of the Week show. I'm Greg Tepper. This is the 20th anniversary of the Built for Tough Player of the Week, and it gives us the great opportunity to look back on some of the all-time greats to bring home this prestigious award. And that includes one of the all-time great passers in Texas high school football history, Garrett Gilbert, who put on an absolute clinic for the Lake Travis Cavaliers, leading them to back-to-back state championships in 2007 and 2008. It was in 2008 when he was the Built for Tough Player of the Week and Player of the Year. In an undefeated season for the Cavs, he threw for 4,851 yards and 55 touchdowns, then setting the career passing record with 12,534 yards. That now still ranks 5th overall in Texas high school football history. It was in honor of the University of Texas and SMU, but around these parts, we remember him as a Built for Tough Player of the Week and Built for Tough Player of the Year back in 2008. Garrett Gilbert, a Texas high school football icon. After the break, the Class 2A and private school Built for Tough Player of the Week for Week 10, if you stay with us. Welcome back to the Built for Tough Player of the Week show. I'm Greg Tepper. To the smallest 11-man classification we go, Class 2A, where it may be a small school, but Caleb Gretkin played big for the Sudan Hornets in their 61-21 win over Morton, throwing for 222 yards and 3 touchdowns, running for 120 yards and 3 scores, and oh yeah, by the way, 8 for 8 on PATs, and he had a 70-yard punt. He's averaging more than 10 yards per carry on the season for the Hornets, is their senior quarterback. And also, by the way, he was the pitcher of the year in baseball and a regional qualifier in track. He can do a little bit of everything, including talking with Mallory Hartley.
Caleb, a crazy performance you had last Friday night. You continue to contribute in a big way on offense. You contributed in a huge way on special teams. Typically, you're on defense. You didn't play any defense last Friday night, but you typically do. So what does a typical practice look like for you on a daily basis?
Well, I normally we do a lot on offense. We work on our run plays, our pass plays, and then we'll go to our defensive side. And depending on the week, I'll practice defense or kind of just watch and feel out the position and make sure I know what I do if I need to go in.
Well, and on top of all that, you lead by example. You're a great leader as well. What does it mean to you to be able to lead this team in such a way as, hey, I'm a senior this year. I got to step up and be that senior leader that the rest of the team needs?
It's really fun. We have multiple leaders on the team. Everybody fits in perfectly. Everybody holds everybody else accountable. In past years, we've had a couple leaders, but this year I feel like it's way better because there's multiple, not just the 4 captains.
Right, it makes it a little bit easier, right, to kind of all bond together. Well, Caleb, finally, how did you find out that you were going to be awarded the Built for Tough 2A Player of the Week award?
I had no clue all day, and then we get to practice, and we normally have our little pre-practice meeting. Coaches give a little speech, and we pray. And Coach called me up and told me, and I was a little in shock. My parents were there videoing, and I was a little confused why they were there. But, yeah.
Well, and how special was it? You got to celebrate with your parents, your coaches, your teammates. I mean, how special was that for you?
Yes, it was really special. My parents have been a big part of my athletic career my whole life. They're always there to support me. It's fun to be there with my teammates, especially my seniors that I've been with for 6 years playing football. It's fun to be there with them doing that.
Coach, reading Caleb's stat line from last week was incredible, especially what he did on special teams. I mean, 8 for 8 on PATs. And then he also had, what was a punt? A 70-yard punt on special teams. As a coach, not only seeing him put up great numbers on offense, but also contributing in other phases of the game. What is that like?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Caleb's, so talented, and we've used him in several ways this year. We didn't play him a whole lot on defense in this game. We try not to when we don't have to, but there's been games where we used him on defense, and he's always made big plays. But the kicking game has really been great for us. It's enabled us to kick field goals at times this year, and for a 2A school, that's not very common. And then also the punt, with field position and kickoffs and all those things and the extra points. It's very valuable and very, very, very nice to have that. Absolutely.
In your own words, why do you think that Caleb deserves the Built for Tough 2A Player of the Week?
Well, just his everyday presence. He always shows up ready to work. He's been an outstanding leader for our team. He's always had a great attitude and super, super competitive. Holds our other guys accountable, but also builds them up when they need it. And, he every week this year, he's been an integral part of our team, especially offensively, kind of carried the team at times and gets the ball to our playmakers. So, ultimate team player, but also probably our biggest contributor and producer on a weekly basis.
Congratulations again to Caleb Gretkin of Sudan, our Built for Tough Player of the Week in Class 2A. Last but certainly not least, let's go out east for our private school Built for Tough Player of the Week. And at Tyler All Saints, it was Emerson Hadnot, their senior running back, who put on a show in their win over the Shelton School out of Dallas, carrying for 225 yards and 5 touchdowns on just 15 carries. And just for fun, he threw a 62-yard passing touchdown as well. He's run for at least 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in 4 of their 5 wins. And he's averaging 37 yards a punt on the season. He has been absolutely remarkable for Tyler All Saints, a true do-it-all athlete, and that includes talking with Mallory Hartley.
Emerson, an unbelievable performance that you put up last week. You guys are on a 5-game winning streak. What's been your main motivation, throughout these last couple weeks to get you where you guys are right now?
My main motivation this season is just that it's my last. There's no redos after this year, so I want every game to leave them all out there and just play hard and have no regrets at the end.
And I was talking to Coach before this, and he was telling me he was slightly bragging on you a little bit. He was telling me that you lead all of TAPS in scoring and touchdowns as of right now. Who do you credit all of this performance to?
Well, the team, number one. The line up front is best line in the district in my opinion. I wouldn't ask for anybody else to be up there blocking for me. Even the receivers, everybody on the team, we play for each other. We all have our moments to shine. And so these guys, they're unselfish. They're not, it's not about me, it's about the team. And I mean, coaches as well for just trusting me, to have the ball in my hands and trusting me in situations to, make plays and be a playmaker and things like that.
I know how important your team sounds to you right now. And you being a senior leader seems like it means a little bit more to you, right? Being that senior leader. What is it? No, explain to me that feeling and what it means to you to go out there and be that senior leader every single night. I guess every single practice, really, too.
Yeah, it feels good. Growing in this program, we haven't always been the best team, and so our senior leadership hasn't always been as strong as it needed to be. But being the team that we are now and having the identity that we have now, it's really us seniors. We kind of started the movement last year as juniors. And so we're kind of finishing off and building on the foundation that we built last year with Coach Freeman and, the new coaching staff and things like that. And so it means more because we have more pride because we kind of feel like we built it. We were there when we were 1-8 and now we're, 7-2. So it's more of a pride feeling and kind of being a trailblazer for the program, I guess, almost. It's a really good feeling.
Well, Emerson, we really appreciate the time. Congratulations and good luck the rest of the way. We're rooting for you.
Oh, yes, ma'am. And, being in this program, we've turned it around. And now, this Friday we'll be playing for a district championship against Dallas Christian. That's just not something we even imagined or dreamed. Even last year, we didn't think that we would be as good as we are today. And so it's just, credit to the coaches and credit to the guys for buying into this program. And, we're trying to see how far we can get.
Coach Freeman, you guys are now on a 5-game winning streak. And I know how important that Emerson is to your team, your offense as a whole. Tell me in what ways that he has stepped up this year as kind of your senior leader.
Well, it started really last year. He started working really hard in the weight room, and of course, he ran track and basketball, and it really started at the end of last season, which we had a really good year, and Emerson had a really good year, and he's worked hard all season long and during the summer, and it's just it started to really pay off for him.
You had mentioned in Emerson's bio that you guys actually changed your offense in order to include Emerson, get Emerson the ball more. In what ways have y'all done that?
Well, I think not necessarily changed our offense, but our offensive scheme that we've run, or that I have always run whenever I've been a head coach, it really complements what his talents are. Good tailback, running back is essential in our offense and such, and we utilize it quite a bit. And of course, not just in running, but also in receiving. So his talents have fit in really good in our offense.
Obviously very talented on the field, but off the field, tell me a little bit about who Emerson is.
Well, Emerson's a good kid, or good young man now. And he's in a lot of school activities. He's got great character. He's a leader. A lot of people, especially young kids, look up to him at our school. We have a very special community here, and Emerson has been a big part of it. He's just a really good kid. He's in theater as well, so he's very talented.
Congratulations to Emerson Hadnot of Tyler All Saints, our Built for Tough Player of the Week in the private school ranks. It's on to the final week of the Texas high school football regular season. Huge games everywhere you look. Let's take a look at the Built for Tough games to watch for Week 11. You might notice a trend. These are all win and in games for these teams. Out in El Paso Eastlake taking on El Paso Coronado. Harlingen South and West Laco East down in the Rio Grande Valley in Class 5A. Perryton and Borger, winner is in the playoffs and the loser is blowing up basketballs. Jefferson and Tatum out east is a huge game. Winner is in the playoffs and the loser is heading for the offseason. Johnson City and Harper will play for a playoff spot, and then a huge game with big-time star power in the private school ranks. Houston Legacy taking on San Antonio Cornerstone. There it is. Your Built for Tough games to watch in Week 11. That's going to do it for us here on the penultimate episode of the Built for Tough Player of the Week show. We so appreciate you spending part of your day with us. For our producer, Blaine Tatum, I'm Greg Tepper. We will see you next week for the Built for Tough Player of the Week show.